And we do ask as much as people can be that you are on camera, especially when we do photographs. I know this is a little bit of a cultural shift for some of us to be on a camera, and this is your chance to get used to it. So this is your safe place to get used to having meetings on Zoom and other online applications, because we do a lot of this in the professional world in the US. So really encourage you to have this be your time to practice that. And please know that we do not judge however you show up. We just want you here. I don't know what to do about this CZP echo unit. AJ, do you remember if, I don't think we had that handle, that name last time.
Yeah.
Did we or did we not?
No, we did not have it.
All right, I'm not going to admit them because I'm concerned that it's a bot or a hacker. And I think I said 3 or 4 times to change the name and that didn't happen. So Sherry, hello.
Hello, I made it.
You made it. Well, we are going to jump in here. People have been introducing themselves in the chat, and that is working really well. Welcome back, everyone. We are going to jump right into co-creating group norms. So use the hand raising button on your Zoom tools there if you have heard of this term, group norms or guiding principles or team guidelines. How many of you have heard this before? Or you can do a thumbs up or shake your head no or yes. Okay, so I think I saw it. Yep, Charity has. That's helpful. Anyone else? So this is something that's, I believe, fairly specific to US corporate work cultures. You probably won't find this in more entry-level team settings, but in professional work settings, there is something called group norms or guiding principles. And it's something that we use on either an intact team, so a permanent team, or sometimes if you're on a project team or a cross-functional team where you're being brought together to do work that's in addition to your regular work, you'll go through this process. So this is something that we want to expose you to because it can be a little bit confusing and it doesn't usually get explained very well. This is one of those things that gets assumed in our culture that everybody knows who's a professional, they know what this is about. So what are group norms? They're agreed upon behaviors that help people work towards a common goal, establish how they're going to interact with each other. So it's kind of like creating your own rules together for how you're going to.
Yeah, because the black one holds more.
If everyone can mute, that would be great. Why is this something that, this is actually a helpful tool. It's a helpful process. And it's helpful because it improves trust. It uses time efficiently. It helps us understand our commitments to each other, and it can improve the work that we do together. It can help us not have as many misunderstandings about how we're working together. And so for those of you who have done this before or been on a team where you had group norms, could you just maybe speak up and let us know what was the most successful group you've ever been a part of? What helped the group be successful? What things maybe got in the way? And how did the group hold each other accountable? And this can be anybody who's ever been on a team. So if I could have a couple of people volunteer to share any answers to any of those questions, I'd love to hear from the group.
Hello, guys. How are you? I
Good,
hope you guys
how
are
are
all doing
you?
good. This is Charity, and I just wanted to answer. So I work with Regents Hospital or medical records department with health partners and everything. And sometimes there's a lot of HIPAA laws that we do. So something that our group kind of does is we kind of bounce ideas off of each other, kind of like in iMessaging and stuff, and holding each other accountable, making sure if something's not on your mind at that moment, then we'd be like, oh, does HIPAA allow this? Does HIPAA allow that? Just holding ourselves accountable for that, which is good. Yeah. And that kind of goes into the actions and behaviors too, but yeah.
I love that. So if you were to kind of formalize that behavior, a group norm that you could like write down would be, it sounds to me like your team has a practice of having really open and frequent communication. So that's wonderful. Hayden, I see your hand is raised. Would you like to share?
Yes, I would like to share part of the group norms that I had previously when I was in Africa during trainings, as well as there are a couple of organizations that I volunteer for here within the United States. And when we do have our Zoom meetings, we also do have norms. One is one meeting at a time. If somebody is speaking, that means everyone else has to be quiet and your phones have to be switched off. And if you like to speak, you got to raise up your hand and you'll be given an opportunity. Basically, we need to understand what everybody's saying and respect for everybody. Everybody's an adult. Every adult deserves respect. If you want to critique a point, let it be in a mature way with respect.
That is excellent. And I think that's a really good example of a very healthy group norm, because sometimes when you're working in a team, if things start going wrong, it's easy to get frustrated, and then you end up communicating in a way that isn't respectful, and that never helps with problem solving. So that is great information. Anybody else have any thoughts on this before we go to the next slide? Any questions about this so far? All right, we'll keep rolling. So here are some examples of positive group norms. Now, we are actually going to set our own group norms tonight. We're going to do it via a poll. And then AJ and I will come back and share with you what the top kind of 5 most frequently group norm suggestions were for this group. So we're not going to have nearly this many, but these are just some examples. So one would be to be open-minded. So that means if a team member or a program participant has an idea that's really different from yours, you'd be like, think about that, instead of just saying, oh, that's a silly comment or not a good idea. This is the one that just got mentioned: treat colleagues with courtesy and respect. Take ownership for mistakes, share information, another one that Charity brought up. Come to meetings fully prepared, participate in groups discussions. This is actually something that we asked for all of you to do, to participate in discussions and to be on camera. Ensure others can participate. That's an important one that Hedon also brought up, with making room for other people to have their say and not 1 or 2 or 3 people dominating all of the discussion. Not using technology other than the technology we're supposed to be on during meetings is a common one, because we all have these, right, that some of us are very attached to. And then following through on commitments. So these are all examples of good group norms. So we're going to do a Zoom poll now, and you are going to have a chance to enter into the Zoom what you think, like 1 or 2 ideas of what you think our group norm should be, so that together as a group of participants, we get the most out of our time together, because you're all devoting a lot of time to this over the course of the next few months. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll, and then as usual, we will have my wonderful colleague AJ read us what some of the answers are. And then, like I said, he and I will take a look through everything and analyze it and come back with the top 5 for next week. And you can come up with your own ideas. You don't have to use something that was mentioned by someone else or on that previous list. And if you have questions that you don't want to ask, if you want to put them in the chat, we can do that as well. Oh, thank you. We've got one idea. Thank you so much. If we could get a few more, that would be awesome. I know this one requires a little thought, so especially if it's a new concept. All right, we'll give it 30 more seconds and then we'll, oh, whole bunch came in, yay. All right, I'm gonna end the poll. If you guys have ideas that didn't get entered into the poll, please feel free to email AJ and we'll include them when we meet tomorrow to talk about what was shared. I'm gonna just click this download results button because that also gives us access to the results later, which is a good thing. We'll decrease that. Okay. AJ, do you have the results on your side?
Yes, I do.
Can you read us what people entered?
Okay, so the people who entered, they did not write their names, or the names are anonymous. So one person said that be on time and allows the session go start timely, be on mute unless lowered to speak to minimize bad noise and interruption. And third, share examples from our countries for informed discussions. Okay, the other person said mutual respect, listening to each other properly, focus on the subject, sharing the problems and finding a solution, taking notes and next steps. So this was all from one person. The other person said that having a clear goal that we look to achieve precision as an individual and as a group. The other one is respect towards colleague. The next one is we will make sure everyone has had a chance to speak. And the other one is respect to others' opinions, give chance to all participants to express their views. One other person said that always be considerate, kind, be helpful, open to share experience. And the final one is, I think, having a clear full name and last name on the screen, commitment to participant in the discussions, either chat or conversation, be kind with some other comments. Yeah, these were it.
Those are great. Thank you, everybody. Those are very Very good. And like I said, we will go through those and pick around 5 or 6 and have a little bit of discussion about them next week before we kick off our resume writing. And just to get you ready, the resume writing session is intense. And there are a lot of resources with the resume writing session. They're all in your binders. I encourage you guys, out of any of the sessions, look through your binders for the resume writing resources, just so you know what all is there, and you can have, to somebody's point who talked about asking questions and being ready, you'll have those ready. At the end, when we're doing pre-work and post-work, AJ, let's just make a note to capture who has gotten boxes. And I can talk about who's got shipped, because we did do a couple batches of shipping of boxes of materials.
Okay.
So tonight our focus is wellness and well-being. And when we first created this entire program, we were getting a lot of support from volunteers in our African immigrant community and other communities as well. And it was really our community members who asked us to include some information about wellness and well-being. So that's really how that ended up in here. I want to introduce our facilitators, Mitch and Sherry. But before I do that, we did add one participant from last week who is now officially joining us, and his name is Aladad. And Aladad, if you could just quickly share your name and your country of origin and your degree, just so the participants have a chance to hear from you, because they all got to hear from each other last week. You're on mute, Aladad.
I'm sorry. My name is Aladat, and last name is Maruf Khail. I'm a holder of medical degree from Afghanistan. I graduated in 2000. It means like 23 years ago from Nangarhar Medical University. And I work in Afghanistan in the clinical and non-clinical field about 21st and 21 year. So since I came to US in 2021, since August, I work with the Ministry of Public Health of Afghanistan through the USAID, United States International Agency for USAID, as a advisor to the healthcare quality improvement at the national and subnational levels. So that was my the last 7 to 10 years of working with the national level of the Ministry of Public Health of Afghanistan. So, and beside that, I also have a business administration, Master of Business Administration MBA from Kardan University from Kabul, and also I graduated in 2020 in March. So, and I also completed my thesis, and I have that with myself here. Yeah, so now I'm working with Refugee Resettlement Agency, MCC, as a refugee program specialist, and I'm searching and I'm trying to enter to the health sector again. So still I'm trying, and I want to connect to the right people and to get some additional education and to how to enter to the health system.
Thank you, Aladad. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
You're welcome.
Also glad that Mitch Rosenblum and Sherry Strand are here. So Mitch and Sherry are wellness experts, and Mitch obtained his bachelor degrees in exercise science from the University of Sioux Falls. He's a certified personal trainer through the National Strength and Conditioning Association and a certified nutrition coach through NASM. He was formerly the manager of Anytime Fitness. He was recently hired at Best Buy to fill an expert fitness role. And Mitch, when you kick off, we'd love to also, if you could just maybe let us know, I know you've got a newer career adventure that you recently started. If you could maybe speak to a little more detail about your most current endeavor.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me again. I love doing the presentation and speaking to you all. Yeah, I'm a community health worker at the University of Minnesota Medical Center. I've been there since April of last year. It started off as a pilot position, and it kind of it's grown to the point where we're hiring 7 new community health workers. So I help with the onboarding process as well as the interviewing process. So yeah, help with discharging planning. Anybody that has issues with discharging, they come to care management, and I kind of help assist with the social worker and RNCCs and work with the providers as well as a charge nurse. So yeah, I'm basically a communication liaison in the hospital. So yeah.
Excellent. And thank you for that. And I just want to tell a quick little personal story. So Mitch joined the Prosperity Ready family via networking, which we're going to learn a lot about in the coming weeks. And he was very gracious in donating a 21 fitness program to our auction for a fundraiser that we had for Prosperity Ready. And my mom ended up with that fitness challenge, which Mitch personally was the personal trainer for. My mom is 80 years old, and she has been working with Mitch every week since the summer of 2020. And she is in the best shape nutritionally and health-wise and fitness-wise that she's been probably since she was a young woman in her 20s. So I can personally attest for Mitch's effectiveness and his expertise. So welcome, Mitch. Sherry has had a lifelong career in promoting wellness as a registered nurse for 30 plus years. She loves learning about different cultures. She's invested in learning about Indigenous healing practices. She's been part of St. Kate's for holistic health practices. She's a Reiki master and instructor and a healing touch provider, sound healing. She teaches Tai Chi and integrates Qigong. She's a wellness day during Nurses Week and leads wellness activities. And she does movement and breath work outside. And she's going to give us a little taste of doing some breath work and some movement work tonight, as long as you all promise not to get so relaxed you fall asleep. So Sherry, welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, and nice to meet everybody. Quick little side note, Mitch and I had briefly worked together. I work in care management in a couple of hospitals, and our paths crossed, and he invited me to join him on this wellness journey with you guys here. So that's a nice connection to make.
And before I flip the slide, and Sherry and Mitch, you just tell me next slide when you want to move on and I'll advance it for you. But before we do that, if everybody could come on camera, we're going to get a shot of the group so that we have a picture of this, including Sherry and Mitch for LinkedIn. So if people could quick come on camera, we would greatly appreciate that. And Tarek, welcome. So glad you could join us. Farzana, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so do we have everyone who's gonna get on camera? Cooper, I saw you for a minute and then you disappeared. You have the best smile in the group. You have to stay on for a second. Okay, AJ, I think we're ready. Everybody give us your best smile.
I got it.
All right, good job. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for your patience with that. Like I said last week, a lot of this is about networking and being visible on LinkedIn. And the more you are out there on LinkedIn posts as part of this program, the more visibility you're going to get. There we go. All right, so Sherry, take it away.
Well, we have some learning objectives for tonight. So we're just going to understand what well-being is, first of all, learning some basics about resiliency, and learning what is self-efficacy and what's that all about, and starting your own well-being routine. Get some practices going.
Sherry, could you raise your volume a little bit? You're a little bit soft on my end. I don't know the rest of you. Do we need her to, can you all hear her or should she raise it up a little?
I'll talk louder. How's that? That better?
Yeah, yes, I can hear her very clearly. She's fine now, thank you.
Okay, good. All right.
All right, so we're going to talk about well-being practices, some well-being basics, the resiliency and self-efficacy, and then some well-being in action. All right, we can go to the next one. So definition of well-being. So there's a lot of different various definitions of well-being. You can Google and find a whole bunch of definitions. You can look in dictionaries and find different definitions. This one on the screen just says a state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy. It can also mean the absence of disease. It can be as simple as that. And I like to look at it as a balance of body, mind, emotions, and spirit, because we're a multifocal being. We're not just physical, so we want our physical body to be well. When you think about your health, if you have any chronic conditions, any surgeries, anything you're recovering from, that you kind of tend to think of well-being in a physical form, first of all. But there's also the mental part of being well, and there's different mental health diagnoses like depression or schizophrenia, bipolar, that fall more into that realm, which isn't always seen as, when you're treating people, we kind of tend to, in the Western medicine, treat people into our physical body separate from our mental body, but they all are interconnected and working together. And then our emotions definitely play a part in all of that too. That affects our physical being and our well-being, our mental health well-being. And then our spiritual connection, and that can be with whatever your religious beliefs are, but it's also your connection with each other, your community, the planet, nature in general, and yourself. So well-being, I feel like, is multifocal. There's a lot to being well. All right. Now Lisa's going to do a poll, right?
Yes, so we want to find out what kind of well-being practices you're currently engaging in. And if you're not, you may be doing something that is not on this list. So that's perfectly fine. We are, well, I need to pick the right poll. That would be good. Oh, we didn't put an other. If there's something that you're doing that isn't on this list, go ahead and put it in the chat. But we'd like to know what you're doing today, and then hopefully you'll get some, I think you'll get some good ideas tonight about what else you could be doing by the time Sherry and Mitch are done sharing their information with us. And again, this will be anonymous, so don't worry about us knowing exactly what you all are doing. All right, so we've got 7 people who've weighed in. I'd love to get the whole group if possible. Give it a few more minutes. Got a little over half, 64%. Tells me that right there. I don't even have to calculate it myself. All right, so for this one, AJ, I'm just gonna leave this screen up and you can people can kind of see what the top one, if you want to talk about that.
I can't see what the people are answering. So
Oh, okay, I'll go ahead and so 10 people, 77% of you are engaging in exercise. The second most common, 62% who answered nutritious foods. 54% spending time with family, 46% spending time in nature, and 23% doing meditation. That's awesome. Sherry, what are your thoughts on that?
that seems very, very what I would expect, actually, you know, from all that. Oh, there, now I can see the poll results. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I needed to end it. There we go.
Yeah, that makes total sense. All of those, the higher ones, exercise, time with your family and your food. Yeah, and I think meditation is something that people are still getting used to doing, so I can see where that's towards the bottom, and we're going to be working on some of that tonight. All right, so then, are we done with the poll?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to do just a little well-being check-in first of all, and we're going to really be focusing on our breath for a couple of minutes here, because our sympathetic nervous system is always working. It seems like working in overdrive. That's our fight, flight, and freeze. It's responsible for those responses in our body. So we're stressed a lot. We're too busy. You know, we're always on that, working in that mode. So what we want to do is try to engage the parasympathetic nervous system, and that brings more calmness to you. It decreases your heart rate, your blood pressure, increases relaxation and blood flow. So we're going to try to get just a little taste of that tonight. So part of that is developing an awareness of how you're breathing to start with. So first of all, I'd like you to just take one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, and just pay attention and notice, how are you breathing? Where are you feeling your breath going in and out? Are you breathing more up in your chest or in your belly? When we watch babies breathe, they do that belly breath. You know, you can see their bellies going in and out. As we get older, we tend to hold things in. We have stress impacts us more. We tend to breathe shallower and higher up into our chest. So that's very common. If you're having any difficulty identifying where you're breathing, you can just raise your arms all the way up and take a deep breath. Go ahead and do that. And see where you're breathing. When your arms are up like that, the breath can only go into your belly. So hopefully you can feel that. And that's what it feels like to do that belly breathing, which is what we really are seeking and working on expanding more. We want to get more oxygenation to our blood, flowing to our tissues, keeping us healthier. And it helps with more of a meditation too. So I'm going to do a little practice. You're not going to fall asleep yet, because if you are able to at all, I'd like you to stand up If you absolutely can't, go ahead and sit, but I'd really like you to stand because we're going to add a little bit of arm movement along with the breath work. And this is a type of qigong that we're doing. So again, just notice how this is mostly bringing awareness and noticing things. So you already paid attention to your breathing. We're going to try to expand and have deeper breaths, fuller breaths. So let's just simply raise our arms up nice and gently as you inhale a nice full breath, and then exhale a nice full breath as you go down. And let's do that a couple of times. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, and your arms go down. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And let's try a different move this time. This is called grasping the chi. Cross your hands in front of you. Lift your arms up as you're inhaling. As your arms come to the side, turn your palms down and exhale on the way down. And we'll do that a couple of times also. Inhale. You're getting a little exercise with your arms while we're doing this at the same time, besides the breath work. And exhale. Nice and slow and gentle. And one more time. Inhale. And exhale. And this last one, we're just going to extend out first. Inhale all the way up. And bring that down the center and exhale. And we'll do that a couple more times. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. All right, hey, you can have a seat again. And if you are able to, I'd like you to just close your eyes for a second. Bring your awareness to how you're feeling in your body after doing that. Did it help you calm a little bit, relax a little? Sometimes it's invigorating. So if you could put in the chat bar just one word on how you're feeling after doing that. Could you do that, please? This is just one tool, very simple tool that you can do anytime, anywhere. Nobody needs to even know what you're doing. So this is like one little tool that you can have in your toolbox for some of your well-being, your self-care. It helps you with being grounded. It can really be helpful when you're in a stressful or difficult situation. At work, maybe, with some of those group norms you were talking about, maybe they don't jive with you and they cause you some stress. So just by doing some deep breathing can just bring things down to a calmer level. Nice. Thanks for those responses. Okay, I think we can probably go to the next one, Lisa. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to build resiliency, creating a strong foundation, becoming more self-aware, which we've already been talking about some, how to create some calmness and find stability when life has been unstable or is you're feeling unstable. So we just did a little bit of that breath work to help with some of those things already. But part of that is for the foundation is like really knowing what is secure and stable in your life. already? What do you identify with that? And how to know how to create a really strong foundation. And identifying people that can help build your foundation, whether that's family, friends, community, and having a well-being practice, a wellness practice of some sort is going to help you with that, building that foundation as well. Having a healthy and strong mind. A calm mind is a clear mind, as the saying goes. Having a healthy and strong body, and Mitch is going to go into that a little bit more in his part. Identifying barriers or obstacles or obstructions that might get in your way. And that one is kind of interesting. If you notice something that's blocking you from what you want to get to in life, or what you want it for your right now for building a strong foundation, try to keep note of that. Write it down somewhere so that when it surfaces again at some point, you're going to have more of an awareness of that. And then you can work on identifying that and helping to release that, so that can help you. There's always a part of us that remains unchanged no matter what is happening in our environment around us. So the next part about the becoming self-aware and calmness, what we want to achieve this by engaging in some different wellness practices. Mindful practices are a fairly easy way to start working on that. There's some different mindful exercises, relaxation techniques, journaling is one. Spending time in nature. There's studies that are done. Just spending time in nature will help you out and decrease your stress level. And some people find it more having challenging exercises that helps release some tension and can create calmness too. So the goal is to know your reflective mind, the part of you that stays calm in a situation, that responds rather than reacts. For finding stability, you want to get to know the part of yourself that's always stable, that part of you that doesn't change. And try to work on building a stronger inner force to increase that stability. With meditation practices, I know that was the lowest on that poll, but that is one way that you can work on that stability too. That's a really nice thing to add to your wellness practices. And so we're going to, I'll do some meditation with you in a few minutes too, and we'll go into some more grounding types of practices with that. So we're mostly working on balancing, trying to find balance in all different types of areas. And a really key thing is to have a consistent practice. So whatever you find that works for you, the more often that you can do that, and then build on increasing the time for that, that will help you out the best in the long run. So for self-efficacy, the best version of you, there's a video on a TED Talk that I guess the sound is not working that great for us to play it here. So are you sending that one out? Lisa, do you want to try it?
We tried it. It's still, I don't think it'll work. So we'll send a link out to it. I'm just kind of looking like the screen's getting a little distorted. Does the screen look okay to everybody, or is the PowerPoint distorted?
It's looking good.
Okay, all right, good. All right, I'll just keep it up then. Yeah, we'll definitely send it out. Sherry's just going to kind of summarize it. It's short. It's like 12 minutes, but it's a good TED Talk on self-efficacy and resiliency.
Yeah. So this Ian Haken is the person presenting the TED Talk, and he's talking about dreaming big. What is your big dream? And he relates it to his own big dream of wanting to compete in the Kona Ironman competition at some point, and what it's going to take for him to get to that. So he goes through these different steps that it takes to have a formula for success, is what he refers to it. All people people who are successful have this formula for success, and he uses the acronym of DREAM, so DREAM. So the D was for dream it. First, you have to identify what your dream is, and it's helpful to write it down. He talks about writing it down, stretching it, playing with it, planning every detail out that you can possibly think of. Right down to the details of what would you do if any steps along the way go wrong. Then what's your next step to take that over? And then the R is for routines. And kind of like I have already mentioned too, is that really developing a daily ritual, a daily routine of some kind of wellness practice is really ideal and beneficial, and it helps for success. One he talks about, one is energy management. You need to have plenty of rest, stay hydrated, meditation he mentioned in there, looking out for your physical and mental health well-being. And he talks about visualization, like visualize what your success looks like to you and write that down and refer to that whenever you need to help you move steadily towards your goal. And then the E was for using extraordinary effort to reach your dream. So the E is for effort. So you have to put in the time and the effort in order to reach your dream. The A was for accountability, and it's identifying somebody in your life who can help hold you accountable. It might be a family member, it might be a friend, it might be a coach. Whoever it is, try to identify somebody in your life that will hold you accountable and help you out with that in a kind way, of course. You want somebody that's going to promote the best in you. And then the M is for mindset. You're preparing to overcome any kind of failure or setback you might have. That's part of that whole planning phase beforehand. He did mention a couple of like Thomas Edison and Colonel Sanders they've failed over 1,000 times each. So you just have to keep trying over and over and overcome any kind of setbacks that you have. And also to have a positive mindset toward your dream and be able to be adapting and learning and owning your dream, owning your setbacks, owning your positive parts of that, and identify how you're going to overcome those setbacks that you might have. So own your dream. So overall, that's like dream big, and those are the steps to succeed in that. So if anybody wants to add any version of what you already do for that, this can be time, I guess, for a little bit of group discussion. If anybody's already doing some things like that. The self-care things can be the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional types of things for you. Some of you have already identified those things that you're doing. Staying hydrated, spending time in nature, journaling. Have a goal. Do you have a goal? And write it down. And your routines. So what does success look like for you? Yoga and lots of water. Great. You can unmute yourselves if anybody wants to talk to. Or just think about it. Just start working on that DREAM. What does it mean to you? And start writing things down and working towards what your big dream is. And then I think we're going to take a little 5-minute break. And when we come back, I'm going to do a little bit of meditation I'm going to use some singing bowls, so it'll be more of a sound meditation. This will be more relaxation than moving. So if you happen to have earbuds or headphones in, that would help too for hearing the sound. So if you want to grab those while you're taking a break, that'll help. Otherwise, we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Didn't know that rang like that. That's not a very, that's a little jarring of a ring. Welcome back. Is everybody back?
Yeah, it's a good thing that we didn't hear it. Or at least I didn't hear it.
It'll wake you up. I'm just gonna make a note. So let's see, I'm gonna advance the slide. And Sherry is going to take us through a meditation, which the cool thing about meditation, you guys, is that you can do it anywhere. And I personally do like short breathing meditations before I go into anything that I'm really nervous about. So an interview, yesterday I had a meeting with a really big nonprofit about doing some more training, job seeker training, and I was nervous and anxious and I just sat in my car. I got there a little bit early and just sat in my car and did some like breathing and meditation, and that got my heart rate down. It got like, I get really red when I get nervous, like my face gets beet red. So it helped that. So sometimes it sounds like it's sort of new age stuff, but it's very effective and can be super, I mean, you can use it in the most practical ways. When my son was younger and he would be, you know how kids can be really annoying sometimes, I would use breathing to like calm myself down so I didn't end up getting, you know, angry with him. So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Sherry.
Okay, cool. And if everybody can mute themselves, that'll help the sound work better. I'm going to be using a couple of singing bowls for this. And that's a really good practical example too. And when you were mentioning that, it made me think too, like one of the hospitals that I work at, I was working an evening shift, and my department has to talk to people sometimes about their admission, like coverages from Medicare and such if they're admitted as observation care. So people tend to get kind of agitated over that. And so there was a patient that was quite agitated, wanted to leave the hospital, but really should have stayed there to be monitored for some chest pain. But he didn't want to take the chance on having to pay for it, you know. So anyway, nobody was having success with him. The doctor called and asked if I could come and talk with him as like the last ditch effort before he was going to take off. So I walked up into the hallway and stood outside of the room for just a few, not even a minute, and just stood there, and I did some deep breathing. I visualized myself being more grounded, because then you can respond rather than react. So the more grounded and just calm you can be. Then I went into the room and I let him vent and talked with him, and it had a really good outcome. He stayed to be checked out, but just even the breathing part can be really powerful. So right now, if you could just get as comfortable as you can be, wherever you are. If you want to stay sitting and just sit back and relax that way, you can lay down if you want to. If you fall asleep, we'll wake you up. So just be as calm as you can, relax as you can. If you have the earbuds or headphones in, go ahead and put those on. And we're just going to try to work a little bit towards that dream it type of thing. So working on ways to help build up your strength and your resiliency to try to work on your dreams and have some basis for being resilient. So let's just start by placing our hand on our heart for a moment. Taking a nice deep breath in. Closing your eyes. Another couple full breaths. And visualize yourself taking a walk We're walking through a beautiful forest. Try to visualize anything you can beautiful in that forest. Trees, leaves, maybe there's some birds singing. And you're walking alongside a nice little river, a little babbling brook. It's gently flowing. Maybe the sun is shining and you can feel the warmth on your skin. Or a little breeze that blows across your face. Taking some deep breaths as you walk along. Breathing in the fresh air. Maybe you can smell some of the smells in nature, some earthy kind of smells. Now see if you can see a favorite tree, something that looks really inviting to you, and go stand right in front of that tree. Pay really close attention to that tree. What is the texture of the bark? Maybe you want to feel that. Is it a big tree or a small tree? And the tree stands strong and tall, with its roots growing down into the ground in all different directions, giving it support and stability. And as you're facing this tree, visualize yourself being like that tree. Your energy extending down into the earth, just like the roots are, expanding out in all different directions, touching the roots from the other trees that are all part of your community. Each tree is a part of your community. Feeling that inner strength come up from the earth and from each other. And now have a seat at the base of the tree. And this tree is going to give you a gift. It has some beautiful blossoms on it. And it starts to drop some of the blossoms around you. Nice pink and white, different colors, softly falling down. And some of them start to fall on you. And these are petals of gratitude. The tree is showing you its gratitude for being there. It's acknowledging it, spending time with it. And now try to think of a few things that you can be grateful for. letting go of each blossom, and each of those was a blossom of gratitude. You can say them out loud or to yourself. I'm grateful for maybe your family or friends, having a home, food, and add yourself in there. Show some gratitude to yourself for taking this time to invest in your well-being. Take a deep breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretch a little. Start to bring your attention back to the space that you're in. And just gently open your eyes and come back whenever you're ready. And if you could put a word in the chat bar on how you feel now, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much. And back to you, Lisa, whenever you're ready.
Sherry, thank you so much. That was really helpful, and I think a good just kind of introduction to meditation and the benefits of it, and just making it practical and simple. I am going to admit somebody in the waiting room and see if they will change their names or their numbers that they have here. So next up is Mitch. And he's going to take us through our next 40 minutes. And is that enough time, Mitch, to include Q&A for both you and Sherry?
Absolutely. It might be less than that. Sorry.
No worries. I know we usually have a number of questions for both of you. So
yeah, for sure.
So just if you pause or you want to say next screen, I will help with that.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Sherry. I just feel so grounded, and a lot of people in the chat looks like full of energy, calm and relaxed. I think breathing techniques are so important, especially when you're going into a high stress situation, just like you were stating earlier, Sherry, with a patient who was on op status, and then Lisa as well, talking to another nonprofit, and just meeting those people. So yeah, I'm very big into kind of breathing techniques as you're going into the situation. It just allows you to be comfortable, and I feel like I'm in control when I learn to get to my kind of safe spot, even though the situation can be kind of bumpy here. So my name is Mitchell. I know I was kind of introduced earlier. I have a lot of energy, so if I talk too fast, you guys slow me down. I have a lot of passion and probably be coming out and oozing out of my pores here. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Routines that foster well-being. So using the 21 90-day rule, a lot of people don't know about this, but a lot of gyms use this. So I used to work at Anytime Fitness. This is what we donated to Prosperity Ready, as far as kind of giving that 21-day challenge to your lovely mother, Lisa. It takes 21 days to build a habit. So a lot of people do not know that. They think it only takes a week, but it takes about 21 days to build a habit, and there's reasons behind that. And there's a lot of research that has been done. That's why a lot of gyms will do a 3-week challenge instead of a month challenge. It's not too long, but it's long enough to kind of create a steady income for the gym, as well as creating a good habit for that customer. And we know within the 21 days, if you keep on stacking those days together, 90 days creates a lifestyle change. So whether it be walking, meditating, just drinking more water, whatever your well-being is to you, try to create that habit of doing it once daily, and then maybe even sometimes twice daily, but start stacking days and even keeping a sheet. It's very helpful. And once you create that habit, that 22nd day, you won't even think about it. You'll just essentially just create that lifestyle change here. So just making sure that we create a good habit here. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide here. And why not start today? Of course. Nutrition and healthcare. So I'm learning more and more about the healthcare system and kind of how broken it is, just a little bit here in America. Now that I'm at the University of Minnesota, so I come from that fitness background. Now I see the healthcare, and now I see how imperative it is to essentially be well-versed and be and have some exercising and well-being play an integral part in your role in your day-to-day tasks. So path to improve nutrition here. So breakfast is very important. Everyone's probably heard of that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. As long as you get it in, I think you're looking to start the day off on a good note, just taking care of yourself and having it be in you time. I think breakfast is a good time just to kind of get calmed before the day actually starts. And then prioritizing meal times. I feel like as we start to age in life, meals become between when we grow up, we're having 3 meals a day, and then when we hit adulthood, I feel like those get diminished to the point where we're only eating 1 or even twice a day. And the more meals we eat, 5 to 6 meals a day, the faster the metabolism will go. So, and that's going to help burn more fat if that's what we're looking. Morning tips. I'm just looking at the chat here. I just see it there is saying related breakfast, which says morning tips, even if it's not still okay. All right, I was just looking at the chat. Sorry, I was getting sidetracked. And then involving children. I have 4 kids, and they know that they have to have a fruit and vegetable for dinner, breakfast, and lunch as well here. So just involving your kids and making it a great habit. We already know that 21 days creates a habit. And then we want that 90-day to create a lifestyle. So just making sure that we involve our young ones if we have kids. And small shifts to healthier foods. So that's going from, you can be cooking with canola oil and switching it to olive oil, or having butter on your toast and switching it to avocado. Just small changes like that will not only, you'll see a difference just in how you feel, but also how you look as well. So I'm a big believer in you are what you eat. So small shifts to some healthier foods are very, very important. And then snack boundaries. How many of you guys, myself included, I'm raising my hand before I even ask the question. You get a snack and you say you're only eating 2 or 3 chips in the bag, and then next thing you know, you're reaching in the bag and then they're all gone. I know that is definitely me at some point. So just being able to be mindful to minimize the snacks, and just knowing yourself, and knowing, as Sherry was saying, knowing yourself and being true to yourself, and being realistic with yourself. If you have that whole bag of chips or cookies, and you know that there's a high chance of you eating that whole bag, you just take a couple of them out and put them away for tomorrow or the next day. All right, and then we'll keep going here. And then common barriers to well-being. I like this kind of stick on the slide for quite a while here because there's a lot of barriers that we face in life, as well as being not only just being just active, but just kind of being as a well-being here. So lack of time, preparing meals in advance. So I know myself included, I tend to make a meal for a day and I end up still going to a fast food spot later in the day just because I didn't prioritize my meal time and I didn't feel like cooking that specific day. So preparing meals in advance, meal prepping is very important, just to kind of just set yourself up for success. And then buying healthier snacks in proportion sizes. I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Instead of the chips, get the baked chips and things of that nature, and find recipes that are easy to prepare. So just set yourself up for success, and knowing if you make things complex, they will tend not to be getting done. So just making sure that you have a plan and you go and you kind of stick with that course of the plan. And then lack of willpower. Identifying foods and situations and create plans to minimize effects. So this is a big one. So when people say they're on a diet, I like to say lifestyle change, because a diet is temporarily, a lifestyle change is obviously for an extended time here. When you say I can't have no food before versus I don't, there are two different tones here. I can't means you're restricted, you want the food, but you can't. And then saying I don't means that you do not want that food, and people are not inclined to keep on prying you when you're out eating and saying I don't want a dessert, rather than saying I can't have a dessert. And our friends and family are going to say, oh, you're okay, everyone else is having it, why can't you? And that's when we start to get into trouble a little bit. So lack of willpower is very important, to kind of just know your inner you and just figuring out and identifying situations and being comfortable being able to answer accordingly to that. And lack of expertise and support. It seems like nowadays there's so many Instagram trainers and there's so much information online saying if you do this exercise for a whole week, you'll lose 30 pounds. Just knowing, just seeking information from credible sources and asking questions and be an advocate for yourself when you're getting talked to about those situations. And then share your goals with family and friends. They will definitely hold you accountable to them, almost to a fault, in a good way. So just making sure that you share your goals with family and friends and have an accountability system. It's very, very crucial in your sense of well-being here. And suggest active activity. So I know we're in Minnesota and it's really cold here. Well, I think a majority of us are here in Minnesota. And we know we like to park close as possible to the grocery store. But in the summertime, or when it's 32 degrees out above freezing, just parking farther away from the grocery store, so we can take a couple extra steps during commercial breaks. If we're watching TV, just standing up, doing a quick stretch, doing some of the breathing techniques that Sherry's showed us as well, or even doing a couple push-ups. It's very good just to kind of just get up and stretch. Our body does not like to sit down and rest here. So we'll keep on going here.
Well, let me pause because that was a lot of information in the last few minutes. Does anyone have any comments or questions about anything that Mitch has covered so far? And I love the fun comments in the chat. And I think the best thing, I once in a while will let myself have the tiny bag of Lay's potato chips, but it helps if it's the little bag and not like the family size bag.
Yeah.
So I definitely use that technique, Mitch, and that helps.
Yeah.
What questions, comments, or what hacks or tricks do the rest of us use to help overcome the lack of willpower or other things?
Personally, I think the biggest challenge that I've had since moving over here is precisely what you said. It's the winter. It's just hard trying to still exercise for essentially 6 months of the year where it's cold and it's hard getting out. So that has been difficult, and it's a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They call it comfort weight here.
Our extra winter pounds that are, yeah, I don't know if they keep us warmer, but I know there is stuff, and it's hard when you're inside to like get motivated, but like
Yep.
jump ropes and small hand weights and even, doing exercises, using, if any of us have stairs, I'll sometimes just go, our basement stairs are long, and I'll just go up and down the basement stairs for a few minutes, and at least then I feel like my body's moving and I'm doing something, not as much as I do in the spring and summer and fall, but definitely getting my blood flowing and using my muscles.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a comment or question or a technique, a tip for us?
I was just gonna say, one of my favorite places in the winter to go is like the Como Zoo, the conservatory, because it's nice and warm. You can walk around, and then you get that connection with nature, and you just feel so much better. So I've had to do that a number of times.
Well, that's a great idea. And the Como Zoo is free, right? You don't have to pay, and they've got ample parking. That's a great idea, Sherry.
Base, so yeah.
Who else? I think I heard a couple people speaking up at the same time.
Yeah, sorry, that was me. No, one of the things that I found very helpful, especially for the winter time, is like getting into winter sports. It's actually a lot of fun when you actually try it, like ice skating and snowshoeing and different things. And it's really a workout when you think about it. So that's something I would advise people to do, is to get into it.
Yeah, and was that Charity speaking? Yeah, that's a great, and I will put a plug in here for one of Prosperity Ready's partners. So Three Rivers Parks is the biggest park district in our Twin Cities area, and they have amazing activities, and every once in a while they'll do like free trainings or free excursions for snowshoeing and things like that. And definitely in the summer, they have really fun things. So Charity, that's a great idea. Like check out your local parks. Our Three Rivers particularly wants to attract our BIPOC community and our immigrant community to their parks and serve people, and especially those of us with families. It's a great entertainment source for kids, and then just to get out and do some stuff. They have parks all over the Twin Cities area. So I see some people nodding too. Raina, did you have any thoughts?
Yes, I do. So here in USA, it's very expensive to have healthy foods. I mean, in our countries, Carlos and Marco, it's super easy to find something cheap. And here, fruits and vegetables is expensive, even more than meats. So it's kind of difficult to have that kind of healthy food here, and it is very expensive. If you can see people who get healthy food and just regular food. You can see in the skin, you can see the weight. And I think, especially here in Minnesota, we are far, far away from other places. It is very expensive to have healthy food. I try it, but cheeseburgers are amazing too. So, yeah.
Yeah, Mitch, do you have any suggestions on that? Like, I know in the summer, small farmers markets can be a little less expensive than the grocery store. What other ideas do you have, Mitch, for finding reasonably priced produce?
Urban roads have a lot of offers to people can buy now fruit from there. I think this is going to be the second year when you can buy organic fruit with urban roots here in St. Paul. So that's a good option. You can buy with local farmers, or you can grow up your own some vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. And I believe it or not, and this is just from having to feed 6 mouths. I know how expensive things can be. Produce, I found out that Costco and Sam's Club buying, even though they're bulky, like in bulk, they tend to be cheaper than your local Cub or Hy-Vee. So buying in bulk, even though you may get kind of a little bit more than what you kind of bargained for, you'll be able to get at a lower price point. So I've noticed Costco, I'm a big Costco fan. Costco and Sam's Club, their produce, we've come to find out just by me searching in the inflation going up, that that they tend to have lower produce prices than the local stores.
And Rena, I love your idea about growing your own. That takes time, but it's actually can be part of your well-being practice. Gardening, even if you're gardening in pots, that's my Zen place is gardening, and it is way less expensive if you've got the space and the time. That is a good way to get good
Yeah,
food.
even if you don't have space at home, you can find any community garden. So I think that's a good idea too, because if you go to a community garden, they give you the seeds and everything you need to grow up your own vegetables. So
That is an awesome idea. We're gonna have to start a list of economical ways to get good fruit, because I mean, even eggs that used to be inexpensive are like through the roof right now because of the bird flu. So yeah, it's an issue. Well, that's great. Thank you, you guys. You know, I think I told each of you when we interviewed you, adults learn best from other adults. So I really appreciate people speaking up tonight, because I know this is new. This is only our second session together. So
All right, and then I think we'll just kind of wrap it up with well-being practices. So we're going to be self-aware. We're the best advocate for ourselves, and we need to be able to be our best advocate for ourselves if we are self-aware. And then practice building resiliency and self-efficacy. Just knowing that things are going to be tough, and just knowing to keep on viewing ourselves and making sure, as Sherry was stating as we were meditating, just being thankful for ourselves. I haven't realized that I haven't done that in a while. Just being thankful for myself, and that was eye-opening to me. And I thank you for that, Sherry. And then commit to well-being routines, whether it's walking. We did a lot of these already: walking, meditating, breathing, working out, or just parking farther from the grocery store. Just doing something that is definitely gonna fill your heart with that well-being routine. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. All right, and then we got some post work. Do you want me to go through this side, Lisa, or did you?
AJ's gonna go through this, and
Okay,
then
that's what I
we'll
thought.
turn it back over to the two of you and let the group just ask whatever questions might be on their minds.
Okay, yeah. So this is about well-being practices daily. So we would like to ask you to commit to a routine and then start practicing it, and think about when to incorporate this 10-minute practice into your day. Give participants a menu to, so here's a menu which you can choose from, and you can incorporate and do one of these tasks daily, or choose several of these to do it daily for at least for 10 minutes.
All right, so what questions? We've got a few minutes left here. Do you all have any questions for our experts? And I think that was the, oh, and then we do have, let's just The learning assessment, that'll get sent out, but if you want to capture it here on your phones, there's a QR code. So yeah,
Okay,
let me
so
back up here. I'm going out of order. Sorry, I'm getting us messed up. Let's go ahead and do Q&A and then AJ can wrap us up.
okay, so thank you, Mitch and Shuri, for facilitating this session with us. So I'm asking the participants, what questions do you have for our experts? And I would like to start with my question from Mitch. Lisa, am I allowed to ask questions?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so Mitch, could you tell me that I usually have this problem, like in the morning, I do not have the appetite for eating food. So do you have some suggestions for me?
Yeah, honestly, if you are not hungry in the morning, I would not eat. Honestly, what I would do is just listen to my stomach and listen to my body, and go off of that. So there's a lot of intermediate fasting going on right now. I don't know if you heard from that 12 to 8 range. Usually that's when people are most productive throughout their activity. I'm a big believer in breakfast, but if you feel like you cannot eat breakfast, that is okay, in my opinion. And you might have some other professionals saying you need to eat breakfast, but if you're listening to your body and you are not hungry, I would not eat in the morning, because you don't want to just overbloat yourself and become sick. So listening to your mind and listening to your body would be the best practice that I would give you.
Okay, thank you, Mitch. So our participants, do you guys have any questions for our experts?
I have just one question concerning mediation or meditation that we practice recently in the in that presentations we exercise somehow, but there are some I am truly sure that they do not practice or did the same exercise that Shiri provided to us, like how she was like creating the scenes and close your eyes and go deeply and just to make some imagination and go inside that. Like I practiced that, but it was not possible for me, and it's look a kind of like I start laughing that how I have to do this. I don't know why, because I never practiced this in life. So I don't know. Like we are doing different things. Like we are practicing other aspects of our like for the meditation, like we are doing prayer or going outside for the fresh air or not listening to the music and not starting dreaming about something. So I don't know, I have some problem with that, or I'm asking also my colleagues if some of them feel the same that I feel it.
Yep, Zahid, I'm just gonna jump in because AJ and I actually had this conversation a couple days ago where we talked about when he does his prayers, that is his, a form of meditation for him. So I definitely I think meditation can take a lot of different forms. And you need to do whatever is most comfortable and helps you the most. So if the form of meditation that we did tonight is something that isn't preferable or helpful to you, we're just putting things out there for you to experience. But singing can be a form of meditation, chanting, praying, yeah, just walking quietly in nature. So Sherry, I'll let you weigh in as well, but it really struck a chord with me because AG and I were talking about this just the other day.
I do like the breathing exercise at the beginning. It was very helpful and gave us some relaxation, and our body was oxygenated, and so that was wonderful and also very useful and helpful for us. Thanks to sharing. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, well, Sherry, if you want to say a few words on Zahid's comments, and then Baketa's got a good, he's got a good question in here, which probably should go to Mitch. So Mitch, if you want to look at that while Sherry comments, then we'll move on to Baketa's question.
Yeah, just like Lisa said, there's many different types of meditation, and it's experimenting with different kinds. So this was just to give you an idea of a couple of different kinds. Like she said, singing, chanting, praying. I do Qigong and Tai Chi, and that's a form of moving meditation. It can be whatever works for you, and something might work for a while and then it stops working, so then you just try something else. And there was an article that was sent, that you guys had sent out about meditation, and there are several different links in there to different types of meditation. Some are guided, different things, and I would just try out different ones, see what resonates with you, what works. If it's just breathing, that's great, just do that. And it's just tiny steps that you want to take, and just try to work on that. If that's what works for you, just keep doing that and try to extend the time that you're doing that as you go, to make it a daily practice. And it just has to work with you and your lifestyle, and just experiment with different kinds.
I think next we've got a question in the chat for Mitch.
Thank you, Sherry.
So there's a lot to unpack from that message. Oh, that question. So I'm just gonna kind of reread it. I have a habit of drinking water while eating, and take a long time chewing before swallowing. So even if I eat a lot, I won't see a change in my body. I think my metabolism is too fast. Your suggestions on that? So when you chew slow, you actually are slowing down your metabolism. The faster you chew, the more calories you will burn. So it's a good thing that you're slowing down your chewing from that aspect. So slowing down chewing actually slows down the metabolism. The faster you chew, obviously, the faster your metabolism is going to go. To say, there's a lot of other questions I would need to kind of get from you. I apologize, to see if your metabolism is too fast, because there's a lot of things that go into it, as far as muscle mass, family history, and then just kind of how many calories are you eating in a specific day, and how much weight are you looking to either gain? I believe this is a gaining weight question, if I'm not mistaken. But how many more calories are you eating per week? Because you can time it up where you're counting calories to where you're gaining weight or losing weight. So there's kind of a lot to unpack there, and I can't really answer it full-heartedly. So I apologize without getting kind of more deeper questions. That's the personal trainer in me, is wanting to ask a little bit more questions if I'm understanding that question right. So just kind of interested in knowing, like, as far as like family history, as far as metabolism, that tends to be genetic. So if your parents have a fast metabolism, 9 times out of 10 you will have a fast metabolism, which will make it harder to gain weight. So you'll burn through fat at a faster clip, and then swallow, and then obviously slowing down your swallow will slow down your metabolism, but it seems to be not working. So I would just say count calories. That would be my next thing. Just kind of a vanilla answer is counting your calories, and seeing how many calories you're eating, and then kind of go from there. So sorry that was a roundabout answer, but that's kind of, if I'm understanding that question correctly.
Well, and Mitch, what about, can you address the drinking water while you're eating? Because I know there's a lot of schools of thought on that. Like
Yeah.
some
So
people say
if you drink,
shouldn't drink any water. Some people say you should.
Yep. So if you're looking to gain weight, you definitely shouldn't be drinking water while you're eating because your body is going to be fuller faster. So we need to reduce the water retention on that because your stomach your diaphragm can only take so much. And if you're looking to lose weight, then drink as much water as you possibly can as you're eating. And then obviously chewing up. So I would like that metabolism. I could eat cheeseburgers with that's funny. Yeah, so if you're looking to lose weight, drink water while you're consuming food. And if you're looking to gain weight, try to avoid water at all costs because water, even though it's water weight, there's no density behind it and there's no calorie count to it and there's no measure behind it. So we know that equals energy. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, Lisa.
Yeah, Bakeda, does that help a little bit? I think he might have. Yeah, he said thanks. All right. So anything else? We need to probably use our last few minutes here to cover things for next week. Should we go to that? Great. Well, thank you, Mitch and Sherry.
Okay, so I'll try my best to be fast because we don't have a lot of time here. So here's the wellness and well-being learning assessment. If you could capture the QR code, it's good. If you could not, I'm going to email it tomorrow, so no worries. And thank you for those of you who have sent me your resumes. If you have not sent us your resume, please do so. It's okay if you do not have a resume at the moment. If you have not told me yet, just email me or send me a message in the chat to tell me that. And next week, we will discuss resume building, and this session will be led by Casey Foley. Please read the 2 articles about personal brand statements and on what they are and why they're important and how to create a personal brand statement and also how to create a resume. So I'm going to send these 2 articles tomorrow. And the other thing is, please take some time to draft a personal brand statement of your own after reading these articles, and be prepared to share and discuss during next sessions about all these. So the TED Talk, which we saw, the TED Talk video which Sherry went through, which we could not see the video, you will receive the link of the video and please watch it. It will be helpful. And I will send an email tomorrow with the links to the articles, and I will also attach an electronic version of the resources and the documents with the link embedded. And these assignments are very important and crucial to your learning experience. Feel free to email me at any point if you have question about these. So yeah, I think we're done, Lisa, with the pre-work for resume writing. If anybody have a question, yeah, you can reach me out later.
All right, yes, next week is going to be a lot of information. And please remember, we're not just assigning you random things. So your personal brand or your professional brand statement is the opening to your resume. And because a recruiter or a hiring manager is only going to spend about 7 seconds reading that and then deciding if they're going to keep reading, that has to really showcase your potential and your unique value. So that's why the personal brand, professional brand, we spend quite a bit of time on that. You'll spend time on that with your resume coach. Next week, we'll also announce, and hopefully most of our resume coaches will come to our session, and you'll get to meet your personal resume coach who'll be working with you on your resume. So we're excited for next week, and thank you again, everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you back here next Tuesday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good time. Bye.
Thank